all. As you all know, my name is Arlene J. Ramsey, and I'm the CEO and founder of Everyone Let's Talk, as you know, which is the name of my show. Today, we're going to have another interesting topic where I will be interviewing, or let's just say having a discussion with Republican candidate Mr. Carmen Bucco. I find it very respectful and interesting that when I did speak to him, he did acknowledge that I support LaMonica McIver, and I want to thank him for that because I do believe that with politics, it can be a rough thing, and the lines can be blurred, and people become not friends, not associates, and so not family, and so on and so forth. Where if they think that you're supporting someone, another candidate, or someone that is outside of their party. However, conversations, as it is my belief, can only help this nation move forward. So without no further ado, I would like to introduce Republican candidate Mr. Carmen Bucco, who have told me he is not MAGA, but he is Republican. How you doing, Mr. Bucco?
I am living the dream. I'll tell you,
Wonderful.
life is good, man. Life is good.
Wonderful. So I like the T-shirt. What does it say? Let the healing begin. No right, no left, no black, no white. Wonderful. Time to unite. Okay. I like that. So tell us about this.
Okay.
Let me start off with saying, what do you think about this current administration?
I think they're all off their rocker. Look, the reality is, and I'm sure we'll get into it, but we've been talking about issues facing districts, United States, and everything for 20 some odd years, and this is why I made this shirt. Everything now today is about gotcha moments, about hate, and nothing has changed, right? We still have the same issues we've had past 20 years. To me, I'll call it what it is. To me, it's all propaganda, right? The elected officials are literally dividing us. And let me tell you, I walk at Irvington. I've been walking Irvington. I've been walking Newark. I can't tell you how many people I run into. Don't tell them who I am. We start a conversation. I tell them who I am. They're like, "You're a Republican?" I'm like, "Yeah." They're like, "We're Democrat. Tell us how we can help you." I don't care. I'm not about identity, right? I don't need a label. Labels have gotten us where we are today. Think about it. We're either right, we're left, we're MAGA, we're progressive, but has it changed anything? Until we start to open up our ears and not be tunnel visioned and start looking out in the real world, we're going to continue down this path. And I'm going to be honest with you. Walking Donna Jackson, I love her to death. Met her at Chancellor Ave. I walked in. I talked to the folks that live there. I go up into a development, and this is now 2 years. I go up into a development. Kids are playing on PlayStation. I look up in the right-hand corner. There's a mushroom mold. Why are we doing this to our people? Listen, most people don't know, but I came from the foster care system, lived on the streets, literally nearly lost my life to drugs, and now I'm living the American dream. It's time to get back to that. It's time that we start listening and understanding. We may not always agree. We may disagree. But we got to start listening to each other as opposed to just knocking each other down.
Okay. I agree with that. For what's your background? What's your nationality? Are you Italian, Polish, Yugoslavic? What's your nationality?
I'm actually Italian.
Italian. Okay.
Yeah. That's where the attitude comes from.
Okay. Wonderful. Okay. So tell me. You said that you met Donna Jackson, and so how was your interaction with Donna?
I'd like to say Donna is a lot like me. We could care less about the politics. It's about fixing the problems. That's what I love, right? And when she won that election, look, she's not looking to cause problems. She's looking to wake people up, just like I am. We don't care about political sides. It's funny. I was on iHeartRadio the other day, and I said, between the right and the left, people are leaving the right and the left, and they're re-registering as independents. And the middle people are laughing at the right and the left. They're like, why are you fighting? For what? What are you getting out of it? You still have the problems you had for the past 2 decades.
Okay. I'm happy that you said that because I also work the polls, and I do see that there's a growing number of independent voters, and some are not choosing to select a party to vote. So they have walked out of polling sites, right? Not all, but some, because they rather stay independent. So right now we don't. I'm sorry.
Our younger generation, it's an outpour. They're out registering Republican and Democrat. They don't want to be a part of it. They want. Look, I believe, and that's why I don't like labels. I'm not about labels. I'm not MAGA. I'm not progressive. I am not left. I'm right. I'm forward, right? And it's funny because I can't tell you. My store is in Essex County, and I get a lot of people that come in, and we just start talking because they know I'm running. And they're like, you don't sound like a Republican. I said, well, what do I sound like? I'm a human being, first and foremost, right? And they're like, if I was in your district, I'd vote for you. The problem is people, just because I have an R in front of my name, I'm wiped out, right? And they don't give you a second and when they do give you a second, they're like, oh, okay. Because look, I could probably have a half-hour conversation with 80% of your people, and we would probably agree upon 75 to 80% of what is going on.
Right. And so I like that you said that, because my take is, how do we find a common ground, which are the things that we do agree on, and how can we unite based on the things that we do agree on, right? So here's why I'm saying that. I understand that there's a growing number of people who are looking for an independent party. But right now, there's the power and the backing is not there. And we have people that are both Democrat and both Republican. How can we unite? So my question is this. I have so many questions. There are concerns about racism that is an issue where when it comes to the Republican Party. Even if racism exists with the Democrat Party, it is passive aggressive and it's under the table. So it doesn't seem as blatant. Now, from how you speak, you don't come off as someone who is racist, but you still represent the Republican Party. So I'm trying to pull from you.
I'm glad you asked that question. I'm going to save you.
How can society in Essex County and in New Jersey have faith in you that racism will not be an issue when it comes to your politics, whether you win an election or not? And if you don't win an election, because you are about the people, how can we incorporate and work with you when it comes to political endeavors?
Okay.
How will you address?
So let me relate to this first and foremost. In the foster care system, I grew up with black people in my foster homes, right?
Okay.
I don't see color. I could give a crap less about color, right? There's only one thing I'll ask. If you don't bleed red, stay away. If you bleed green, I want nothing to do with you. Look, the reality is I don't mean to say this bluntly. I'm so tired of hearing black versus white, white versus black. We're all made from God. I've been so blessed in my life. I've been surrounded around all different types of culture. Look, I'll tell you, and I say it all the time, I'm not perfect, right? I don't think anybody is. There's only one person that's perfect, and that's God. But so I look at my business and I look at everything that I do I want to be like the 1995 Yankees, right? They were all homegrown. They won the most games ever. So if I don't have a question about the black, if I don't have an answer about the black community, I'm going to people I know and say, what is the issue? How do we fix it? Right? So I almost got onto the Shark Tank 3 times, and I almost got onto The Prophet. These are, I don't know how many people know.
I love both shows, but The Prophet is my favorite. What's his name? Marcus
Marcus.
Stillman.
So if I get a second, I can tell you a quick story about that.
Okay.
So, so I almost got to, but real quick, I almost got to the second. I got to the second round of Shark Tank 3 times. I applied 12 or 13 times. I'm very persistent. I was a fighter all my life. So I finally got to the last interview. I was in New York at 6 o'clock in the morning, and everybody's coming up with their ideas online on paper. I'm like, oh, this is going to be a crazy day. I get up to the girl at 2:30. She goes, I remember you. Now, have you? This is like 50, 60,000 people that they see. And I'm like, how do you remember? She goes, you're electrifying. One thing I could say about myself is I'm very direct. Some people don't like it. I'm very truthful because I can't even remember what I ate last night. But the fact is one thing you'll know about me, I don't give up. This is my 13th race. I'm not going to give up on the people. I was told I could go to a Republican district and win tomorrow. Why would I do that? I'd rather lose and keep losing and fight for the people that I feel are my people, if that makes any sense. So real quick, go ahead.
Okay, so question. The president we know is Republican, right? And so some of the laws or rules that he passed, Democrats were not in favor of. Let's say, for one, abortion rights, and there's a slew of rights that he passed that we are not in favor of. So how will you, being a Republican, will you follow what the laws that he passed, or will you, go against certain laws? Here's why I'm saying, because the people want to have faith in the people, right? And leadership does what leadership does, and that it means even when it comes to hard decisions, right? So when he passed certain laws that when you hear from the people, to yourself it doesn't make sense. Will you follow these laws, or what will you do?
So I'll say this very clearly.
Yeah.
I made myself the man I am today. Nobody owns me. Nobody owes me, and I own nobody. Nobody tells me what to do. A true leader motivates, trains, and gets the next person aggressive. I don't care who's sitting up in that seat. I'll always respect the presidency, right? Because you have to. But if I don't agree with you, I'm going to come back at you. I'm going to ask you the questions, and I like to, again, I go back to Marcus Lemonis, right? People, product, process. You're not successful if the process is broken. If the process is broken, I'm going to call you out. I don't care what, and again, I want to make this very clear. I don't care what you are, red, black, pink, purple. I don't care. I have a job to do. I am hired by the people. My job, just like my business, is to make sure that my people are taken care of, right? We have all this money coming into the district. Why do we still have, and this is going on for decades, why do we still have people, our seniors are living in mold-infested buildings? How much longer are we going to talk about it? I'm about putting solutions to the table and getting things done. I don't have time to go back and forth, whether they're Democrat or Republican. My job is to fix the problem. That's it.
Okay.
I'm sorry I'm being very direct, but I don't to be any other way.
No,
look, I'm very passionate about this because I'm tired of seeing. I've lived it. I've lived in my car. I've lived it. And the fact that I can have the look. So everybody says run for a small thing. When I have the ability to help 750,000 people versus 3,000, 30,000, I'm going to take that, and I'll keep fighting.
So how will you handle character or personality issues that can appear as racism. And here's why I'm asking that, right? Because some of the things, and I'm quite sure that there are many of people on the line and they're waiting to ask their questions. But what we want to hear from, because we know all Caucasian people are not racist or don't participate in that mentality, right? We
And not
understand
all
that,
black people are racist.
and we
It's ignorant
understand
people.
that Caucasian, that there were many that was a part of the Underground Railroad. Like, we couldn't have been successful with escaping if we didn't have the help of those who are not in our race. But it seems as if there's a delayed response to holding your own accountable when it comes to actions that are done by them against black people. And like you said, we're tired of the divide. But what causes the divide is the degradation that happens to us by Caucasian people. And I know you cannot control all, but how would you handle or speak to such issues? We would like leaders that speak out to that.
Look, and again, I don't care what you are. Everybody is on an equal level, right? We'll never be able to change the past, ever, right? But what we can do, and again, I talk to a lot of the black community, and everybody's like, "Are you crazy coming here?" No, I don't care. I'm not afraid. I lived it, right? So, look, we have to be able to communicate, right? I mean, I had some guy say every white man should be dead or killed. Come on, we're not living 300 years ago. I can't. I didn't do anything in the past for you know what I'm saying. Like, I can only control what I do today and move forward.
Right.
This notion of nonsense about look, if you're a racist, you're ignorant. I'll be honest with you. I have no use for you in my life. I'm going to tell you, I have no room for hate, and I'm going to tell you right now, 45% of the people are going to hate me. 45% of the people are going to love me. 10% is where I focus on. Right? I can't. I'm too blessed to be stressed. I'm hired to do a job. I will ignore anybody who says racism, you need to be racist. Or I don't have time for that. I have to heal. We have to heal as a nation. We've lost our moral compass, right? We can heal, because let me tell you, I only run up against, if I tell you I talk to 100 people, maybe one or two are nasty, and I just like, listen, God bless you. If you ever change your mind and you want to have a good conversation, we can do that. But I don't have room for hate. And until we come together and stop this nonsense, and I don't mean to say nonsense, but until we start respecting each other and listening to each other, we're going to stay in the same place we've been for the last 2 decades anyway. So what's the difference? We have to stop being tunnel visioned and start opening up our hearts and minds. And that's why I made this shirt, right? We got to stop. The healing begins when we start to come together and respect and understand each other from where they're coming from. And we could do that. We just can't be ignorant.
I totally agree. I totally agree. So here's an issue that we're all dealing with, not just in the state of New Jersey: rent, taxes, inflation. What are what are some of your solutions for this? Because I find that the people that own the buildings, like building owners, I think they're taking advantage of the renters. Does rent need to go up to the capacity that it's happening?
Listen, I'll call it what it is, bullshit, right? Stop talking about affordability. I'll give you an example. I have a friend who makes $130,000 a year. He can only afford a $400,000 home. You talk about affordable housing. Do you know how many apartments you would have to build to make affordable housing? And please don't tell me the affordable housing is affordable. It's a hoax. It's propaganda. To me, it just needs to stop. Not only that, but you're building these buildings in Newark and our inner cities, and you're not using our people. Shame on you. But you'll rape these people with 30-year abatements. Do you know what happens to that building after 30 years? It gets sold off and turns into apartments. You are doing nothing to help the people. I'm so sick and tired of hearing about affordability. If I could use another word for affordability, I'd probably use it, and probably people would tap on board. I'm sick of people having to go home at night and wonder how they're going to put food on their table because of all this stupid nonsense. Listen, taxes are off the wall. You're paying for property taxes. Here's one of the things I'm proposing. Once you turn 65 and you own your home, you no longer have to pay real estate taxes. You've paid for 30, 40 years.
Right.
We have all these organizations. People are stealing from Medicaid. They're stealing from welfare. They're stealing from the people who need it and deserve it the most. And let me tell you something. I get elected, it's going to be gone. You will go to jail, and that money will be spread out to the people who actually truly need it. Enough is enough. Listen, Arlene, all this is used to divide us and as a propaganda because you got elections coming up. It's time to put somebody in office who's going to say, you know what, we're done. You steal from our people, you're going away, and you're going to pay the money back. The girl who got a BMW, she's got to return it, and she's been on welfare and SNAP for 20-some-odd years. But she's driving around in a BMW. You're stealing from our people. That's like someone coming into my store and working for me and stealing from me. You're out.
Right. Right. What do you think about... No, that's okay. That's okay. You're doing good. What do you think about people getting priced out of their homes because their taxes are being recalibrated? Whether they're, like movie studios or things that are coming into the neighborhood that are actually boosting the taxes and bringing up the value of the homes. So now that home is no longer valued at $200,000. It is now valued at $400,000. But your mortgage you were paying in taxes maybe $800 a month or
right.
$800 for the year, and it goes up a couple thousands of dollars. What do you think about? I find that to be ridiculous.
Ridiculous ain't the word. Listen, my taxes went up over $1,000 this year.
Right, and people are getting.
I feel the same. But see, that's the beautiful part, right? I feel the same. I'm going through the same thing everybody else is going through. Just because there's an R for me, put that R aside, right? Let's talk about reality. First of all, blame our government, right? Because we keep electing the same people over and over again. And look, people have lost hope in the process and the people that they're electing, or they've lost hope in going out and saying, we're going to do something and we're going to change it, right? And they've lost hope. It's our job now moving forward to bring back the hope and spend the time with the people. Look, I'm not being supported by anybody. I'm trying to get out to the people as much as I can. I got a small committee, but there's only so much I could do. So we're looking at avenues to reach out to the people because I can't get everywhere. But my message is very clear. You've raped and stole from our people for decades to pay for your pet projects. I'm going to tell you right now, I am going to put a hammer down on corruption. And that's why I said with the welfare program, all these programs that we're feeding, we're taking away from our kids and grandkids. We're taking from Peter to pay Paul. I had 2 high school kids come in from Lincoln Tech who were going to a prom in North. I said, where do you guys see your future at? They're like, Carmen, we don't have a future. How disheartening and sickening is that? That if we keep going the way we're going, I put it like this. If you don't put meat in the grinder, you got no meat.
Right.
So we're destroying people. We're taking them out of their homes to build these. You're moving people out to build Manhattan. You are now, I mean, Newark is semi a brick city, but now you're going to push all your people out who've given their life. Think about a senior citizen who built those roads. You're taking it all away from them. You're taking senior citizens out of their home. Don't you have a heart? I was talking to a lady. She didn't know anything about real estate taxes. She thought that her taxes would be paid after she sold the house. Do you know that they didn't care less? They still made her, she had to hire a lawyer and all this other stuff to try and pay her back tax. How do you do that to our senior citizens? You have no heart.
And so there's another thing that's happening called deed theft and deed theft, where people are finding clever ways to, acquire the homes of other people, and oftentimes it's elderly, and sell the homes to a second or third party. And next thing you know, the cops are coming to the house saying that, the person is squatting. So, as someone that's in a position of leadership, how would you prepare your residents to protect themselves from something like this? I've done some research, and it is something that leadership itself is not speaking to in a proactive way. They're reactive to the case matter, and they're dealing with it as an isolated event. But this is something that's happening under the radar, which should be a covering for the residents. How would you deal with something like that?
First of all, shame on the federal government for not fixing this problem immediately. And I get what you're saying, because I hear it all the time. Why should I have to protect myself from my deed? That's my deed, right? But not only that, but all these scammers that are robbing our seniors, we're supposed to be the best technology in the world. I'll give you a quick story. Some guy, because I do custom suits, and he wanted to buy 6 custom suits. Now, I do business online. I said, no problem, send me the check. If I overcharge you, I will refund you the balance when I put in the order, but you're roughly around this price, because I don't know until I put the order in. So he sends me the check. I go to the bank. I said, do me a favor. I said, this is a big check. Check this check for me. Check looks good. So the banker says, wait till the next morning to do what you need to do with it. So I waited till the next day. The check cleared. The check cleared. So I called the guy and I said, the check cleared. I'm going to refund you the $1,200 that I overcharged you.
Right.
So I tell him the $1,200. An hour later, the check bounces because it was a fraudulent check. Right. So my business is out $4,000 because I placed the order for the product, but I don't care about that. The fact of the matter is that this is happening. So I called the police and I said, I want to go one step further. Why are we making it so difficult for somebody to put in a scam alert or any kind of alert to the federal government who's supposed to take care of this? It's a joke.
Right.
We have a dedicated team to this stuff. I don't understand why we don't. This deed theft, the criminalization of our senior citizens with these scumbag scammers. I sat here and I said, it's an issue. Why can't we fix it? What's the problem?
Recalibrated taxes, and people are getting priced out of their homes.
Yeah, it's a joke. All this money that you got coming in, you can't fix a problem? What are you doing?
Very high. To purchase a home nowadays, it's, so the youth are speaking, it's kind of hopeless. They're speaking a sense of hopelessness because they don't see where they can own a home in this day and age.
Arlene, I have young people coming into my store because I do wedding suits. They're 26, 27 years old. They're like, I don't know when I'm ever going to be able to buy a home. Why are people still in their homes till they're 30, 40 years old? Come on. We got to do better. Look, even if you took the program and extended it to 50 years, right, to buy a home, it got the price down cheaper, and maybe you spent an extra $500 a month because you can afford it. Right, those are programs that I think would be reasonable. But these house prices, I can't sell my house today and buy another house. I'd be going from $400,000 to $600,000. Make it make sense.
Right. So I'm trying to find the name of the act that just came out regarding workplace bullying. That is another issue that is causing adults. See, it's I forget the name of it. Right,
Yeah.
the Workplace Psychological Safety Act is what it's called. It is a new act that is in place now that can protect employees from workplace bullying. Are you familiar with workplace bullying and the phenomenon? Why
Yeah.
this is important is because many of people are getting pushed out of their jobs because of workplace bullying, and oftentimes they're part of the homeless population.
Really?
Yes. They are part of the homeless population by, you know, between 15 and 16%. If it's something that you haven't heard of, that's okay. We can skip that topic, but it is something that's also near and dear to my heart because we're talking about wellness, right? Mental health and just holistic health for the residents of New Jersey. And part of that is also knowing that you can go to work in peace to earn your income so that you can, you know, pay your bills and take care of yourself. But residents are dealing with pressure from various angles, you know, so this is definitely trying and challenging times that we're in. It's 7:47. This conversation can go on. I love the way
We
it's
could probably
happening.
talk all night.
It's going. At this time, do anyone have any questions or anything to add?
I do have a question.
Okay.
We are in a crisis
Well, go
right
ahead,
now.
brother. Go ahead.
Oh, I think there's two people talking. Okay, Brother Joffrey, I think Bernard was first. Let Brother Bernard go.
Okay.
Joffrey, you can go
Okay.
after. Okay, go ahead, Bernard.
Okay, so we're in a crisis in the city of Newark, a housing, tsunami right now. And, that was telegraphed the other day by my dear brother Muta El Amin, Larry Ham, held a rally. And, my brother got a chance to speak at that rally. And, he charged the community with the reality that people are living in the most deplorable of conditions right now, like rats inside of people's apartments, all kinds of, horrors that are currently taking place. My question is, how do we build a coalition of political leaders, to make this issue a priority, for the community, at least the black and brown communities throughout the District 10 that we're challenging, because, with what LaMonica MacGyver is dealing with right now, with all due respect, the attention that has been given for her to be facing 17 years in prison for, allegedly, assaulting an ICE agent, the Delaney Hall massacre that is going on right now, especially where the media is concerned. How do we bring this under some type of order? And how will you, first off, is this an issue that you think you could help champion?
So I say it all the time. I never give away grandma's recipe, but I'm telling you, what I've seen down at Delaney Hall is disgusting. First of all, you're attacking police officers, and then you're saying that the police officers are attacking people. It needs to be fixed. We've been talking about illegal immigration since 2008, and we still have the problems we have. It's time to nip it in the bud, and I'm a firm believer in I will suffer the consequences based on the decisions that I make, but I'm not going to make them alone. I'm going to talk to the people, and I'm going to make the best judgment. So when I put my head down on my pillow at night, I rest easy. The abuse that's going on, and look, if anybody doesn't like what I have to say about illegal immigration, I get it. I respect you. But you're going to take care of those people over our people? Our people are sitting on the streets suffering. Let me tell you something. I watched a video. I forget who went in there to have dinner with the inmates. They're getting better food than our kids in schools. Tell me that's not a crime. Right? So look, we need immigration, right? I love immigration. Half of my tailors are from the DR, Turkey, right? They're from all walks of life. I can't tailor anymore. I'm too old. But the fact is, look, if you commit a crime, And that whole thing at Delaney Hall disrupted New York, and for what? For a show, for propaganda, because it's an election year. You know what? Why don't we challenge our elected officials to, instead of just coming out with propaganda, let's tell the truth. People might not like the truth, but I guarantee you they'll respect you for telling them the truth. Right? A lot of people don't like what I have to say, but they'll respect the fact that I patted them on the shoulder and I say, it's going to be okay, we're going to figure it out together. As opposed to saying, they're killing our people, they're doing this. You know, one of the other things that people don't actually talk about, it's Bernard, right? One of the things that our politicians don't talk about, since COVID, our mental health crisis has skyrocketed. And we're not doing anything about it. We'll take them and we'll put them in a facility for 2 weeks. Once their insurance goes, we kick them out. When insurance comes back, come on back in. Are you crazy? You're not fixing the problem. You're just Band-Aiding the problem. I don't got time. I heal the issue from inside out. And I can't do it without the people, right? So I need the people, because I'm telling you right now, we're going to have town halls once a month. And if I can't be there because I'm in session, I will be on a call like this. It's the people that make the decisions. Listen, you can't be a boss if you've never done the work. You can't be a leader if you've never done the work, right? So I've been there, I've done that.
So I'm going to let Brother Joffrey ask his question or make his statement. But prior to that, what came to mind is I think that we should do away with how the political parties are running. And what I believe we should start to do is pair up a Democrat with a Republican. I truly believe that we need to have pairs opposed to just Democrat, just Republican. So what I mean by that is whatever position that you're running for on the upper political scale, it should be a partner, one Democrat and one Republican.
Listen, I get that.
And applying the solutions so that we can have a holistic view. I really believe that it is time to make a change with how we do politics. But I'm going to stop there for Brother Joffrey to have his question or make his statement.
Can I just respond to that, Mr. Joffrey? Just give me 1 second. Arlene, I've lost 11 elections, and people are like, oh, you're a loser. I'm like, well, I'm in the bluest district in the United States. I don't care what your thoughts are, but I've reached out to Democrat representation for my constituents who get no response back, and you know what I got? No response back. And you're right, that's a problem, right? We're here to service everybody. We don't care what you are, who you are, or how you are. We're here to represent and fix everything. People are afraid to reach out to representation because they don't get represented. But I agree with you 100%. Sorry, Mr. Joffrey.
Okay, Brother Joffrey.
Well, unfortunately, I have to yield to Bernard because I heard Bernard ask a question, and I heard a lot of words being spoken, but I myself did not hear an answer to the question. So, Bernard, if you'd like my time, you can have it.
Well, I appreciate that, brother. The point I'm making in this question is, the reality that the Newark renter, the traditional, generational Newark, Irvington, East Orange resident is in a state of emergency right now as we speak.
Right.
Right.
I believe that with my whole heart, because I come from this community. I see the jobs dissipating, and the mothers, knuckling in. I see the food programs, and that's a litmus test to me when you feel me. I learned this teaching my class, Bud not Buddy. Where we come from a culture where black people had the wherewithal to cover down where, you know, people weren't being fed. And, you know, reading Du Bois, you know, his, you know, Souls of Black Folk, he talks about the greatest problem of the 20th century, which he articulated as the color line. Right now we're experiencing a color wall, and unfortunately the society is separating along those lines. And I think Brother Bucco spoke to this earlier when he said the moral compass, because ultimately, you know, the wisdom of our ancestors, you know, they gave us the, you know, the scriptures in order as a conduit towards keeping our sanity while we're going through the storm. But we taught all people that have come to America the resilience of, you know, hope and fortitude. So what I'm asking is simple. What are we going to do to build a coalition of, you know, and I love Brother Bucco for this. This ain't about black or white. This ain't about, you know, red or blue. This is about the people who are in crisis, and what we can do, especially those people who are in a position of leadership, what we can do, what can we do now to begin a coalition. You know, how do we make these connections now so that we can hold everyone here accountable moving forward to doing what we say we're going to do when we put people in office?
So I think I understand what you're saying. Look, again, and I think I bring it back to the 1995 Yankee story, right? I can't do it alone, right? So when I get into office, I can't solve every problem that comes my way without having teams put together that truly, number one, believe in my message. Number two, believe in the fact that they want to help me fix a problem, right? And then when we sit and we figure out a possible solution, now I bring that to the federal government, right? So you can't do everything alone. You can't do it without the proper team in place. So let's say Bernard or Mr. Jeffrey want to build a coalition, right? That's great. Let's build that coalition. And you're either going to, if I can't make it, you're going to meet with one of my staff members, or I'm going to put somebody in place that actually leads that coalition so I could get back the information and I could bring it back. This isn't happening in elected officials. That's just not happening. But you have to build a team and get your information, and then take it, and then organize it, and then come up with solutions. Nobody's going to be able to come up with a solution. But I like the fact that there wants to be a coalition, that put together a coalition. You should be able to talk to your representatives. You should not be forgotten just because you didn't vote for somebody or you're just someone. You know what I'm saying? Like, does that make sense?
Oh, absolutely. I think that definitely strikes to the heart. The
Dude,
willingness
matters.
It's the willingness. You know, we've, you know, been burned in the past. You know, we put our eggs in one politician's basket, and then that politician gets into office, and over time, it's like the commitment to the people withers. You know, we have got to take better shots moving forward in terms of the people we put forward to represent us. And I think that's, you know, where the rubber meets the road. You know, making sure that, you know, what we are discussing now, you know, it's life or death at this point. The crisis is real. You know, you got families being, you know, pushed out of a community that they have, you know, proverbially tatted on their back. You know, they're being pushed out of these communities where, you know, knowing your community and the terrain is important in any, family unit that is, you know, charged with protecting itself. You know, nothing like taking your family, you know, from one country and illegally pressing your way into someone else's country, you know, to absorb resources, because, you know, we're people that, you know, send us your poor, send us your tired and you're hungry. You know, so all of these people with that, you know, vision in their head bust through the border like a rhino, you know, and unfortunately, it is the people on the ground that have to catch them first, because where are those people going? They're coming to the black community. They know why. You know why they're coming to the black community? They're coming to the black community because the world knows that how black people get down, how black people will embrace you, how black people will feed you, how Big Mama and them would clothe you. And, in the whole movie Beloved, or the book Beloved, better yet, by Toni Morrison, they would take him, stealing my breast milk. We've always dealt with, people who have leached themselves to the black community for whatever reason, and that has drained our morality, unfortunately. We need an injection, a love injection, and right now. And I think that love injection comes with, politicians, who have the willingness. I've seen Brother Bucco now on several different podcasts connected with our community. Action speaks louder than words. Thank you, Brother Bucco.
Well, let me just leave it with this note. I'm not built to forget where I came from.
That's enough said. Let's say less.
Brother Joffrey, did that answer your question?
Truthfully, I didn't hear an answer to the question. I didn't hear what the brother is going to do, what he's going to put forth. But I have another angle that I'm coming from. I don't know what position he's running for. What position is he running for?
Brother Bucco.
For Congress in the 10th district.
He's running for Congress, 10th district, so that opposes LaMonica. Mm-hmm.
Okay, we have the situation where lifetime residents are losing their homes. They're losing their homes, number one, for taxes. They're losing their homes because the taxes are too DAMN high, okay? And while the taxes on the homeowners are too high, you're giving developers the opportunity to make billions of dollars and pay nothing. The infrastructure that has to be upgraded, the cost for doing that is going to fall on mom and pops paying for that, while the developers put up the BS buildings with all that wood. They look good, but they're a bunch of junk, and one match brings them all down. They get to make billions for that crap, and you say, well, we'll give you a 30-year abatement, but you have to schedule, say, 10% affordable. I ask you, just one question. What is affordable housing when the taxpayers are footing the bill for so many people who are on Section 8 and other programs, and they're overpaying for rent? What is affordable housing? And I yield.
May I answer?
Yes.
Affordable housing is bullcrap, is what it is. And I said this earlier. We use it as a ploy. And I said you would have to build hundreds of thousands of homes to fulfill the need for the affordable housing. A one-bedroom studio is $2,000 a month. Come on. You call that affordable? Absolutely not. Look, right. And I think I said something earlier, Jeffrey, that I feel once you hit a certain age, like let's say you're 65, it's got to be a breaking point. But after that, you should not be held liable for real estate taxes. Our real estate taxes are being abused and used for pet projects to hire friends and family for $150,000, $200,000, $300,000 a year, and you guys are paying for it. But again, with all due respect, we have to blame ourselves because we do it to ourselves. The voter has lost hope. We have to get the voters to sit there and say, give this man one shot. I'm going to tell you right now, if I'm given the opportunity to service the community, I will be very humbled, and I think you will be very pleased. I am a businessman, first and foremost, and our government is a business. It's accounts receivable and accounts payable. So I'll leave it at that.
Okay.
But you're not gonna keep destroying our people and pushing them out. We got to find a solution.
And you know, our seniors, you know, they laid down the groundwork. We're stepping on their shoulders. They should be taken care of. They did their part, right?
Absolutely, I say it all the time. It's our seniors. Our seniors built Newark and Irvington and East. They built these areas.
Absolutely.
We should be humbling them.
Right. Anyone else have any questions or statements?
You know, well, you know, for, you know, this is an important election cycle. You know, not to say, I know that we say this all the time, you know, at every, you know, local politics is so important on every, you know, level. So in this moment, you know, from my perspective, being a longtime activist in this community, you know, watching, you know, the way politics, you know, we went from, you know, I become mayor, we become mayor, you know, to in some cases, you know, literally rallying in the streets against one another, you know, and I you know, wanted to chime in earlier, you know, when Arlene was asking about the political climate currently, you know, where, you know, racism is concerned. And, you know, I you know, remember being in Ivan Van Sertima's class, and he was, you know, one of the scholars who opened up my consciousness. And, you know, he, you know, said, you know, the difference between man and animal, you know, animal will attack you growling, you know, its teeth are out, so you can, you know, see the attack coming, but man attacks you smiling. You know, I got a solution. How about a moratorium on taxes to, you know, the lowest income residents in the community of, you know, District 10, you know, a bill to, you know, put a freeze, just like they did during COVID, you know, put a freeze on all taxes, you know, coming out of a particular bracket, and give them a tax break for a 15-year tax break. You know what I mean? So we, you know, we'll give the company, under the auspices of, you know, them providing something for the community in terms of, you know, housing resources. We'll give them a tax break cut or tax break for 15 years. But the resident who brings a human value to the community, we won't give them a tax break for 15 years. You know, so, you know, will we be willing to all coalesce around a bill designed to put a freeze on all taxes for the lowest income residents in our district? Yay or nay?
You're asking me? I love the idea. But let me take that a step further, if you don't mind. Think about it. If you have more money in your pocket, what are you going to do?
You're going to spend it.
You should, typically to spend it, you should
Right,
be investing or, yeah.
But think about it, right? We pay real estate taxes, and most of it goes to nonsense, right? Imagine if you put that money back in people's pockets, they ate better, right? That money revolves and it makes more money, right? If you keep taking from the people and they have no money and they can't afford to go shopping or do this or do that, what happens to small businesses? So it's a ripple effect, right? So I agree with Bernard, yes. But I need to take it a step further, because look, the reality is our seniors. One thing I say to everybody is, when an animal dies, it leaves its skin, right? When a human dies, it leaves its reputation and its legacy. I want my legacy to be for the fact that I changed politics forever. Right. Because it's about common sense, not nonsense. It's about fixing the problem, and it's about coming up with some true solutions to the problem, and not saying, well, because you're a Democrat and you're a Republican, I don't like it because you're a Democrat, I don't like it because you're a Republican. We've seen it firsthand. Nothing has changed in 20 years. It's all the same.
Right.
Nothing has changed. So tell me what you're doing. I'm telling you that I'm going in with my gavel, and I'm putting the hammer down. And I'm going to work with both sides, and we're going to come up with true solutions because, look, I'm 55. This ain't about me. This is about the children and the grandchildren. We don't leave them a legacy. They're done. They're done. There will be no public schools. Think about it. 520 schools, 140 are having issues. We are destroying the future. We're destroying our kids' future. That's what we're doing. And if you want to continue down that path, I say, hey, more power to you. I'm not willing to stop the fight.
Okay. Thank you. Anyone else have any questions?
There is no dead air. This is Joffrey again.
Okay.
Okay. What are we going to do about these runaway salaries of our public servants? Our public servants are giving the billionaires these tax breaks. Okay. Why aren't they paying for it instead of the homeowners? Now, when I was homeless some years ago and living over there in Newark and going to the libraries, they had a lot of people in the libraries looking for homes that they could get elsewhere out of the Irvington, Newark area, because that was the push to push them out of that area. I remember that. And they would be able to use their Section 8 to buy homes elsewhere. I remember that. So what I'm saying, the billions of dollars that these corporations that are building these monstrosities are saving, you don't want to make them pay to upgrade the sewer systems? You pay for it. Cut the salaries of the public servants. See, the brother just said, Bernard was just saying what he was saying. However, things have to be paid for. They keep giving these contracts to Conti and other private firms that are overcharging the cities, half behind doing the jobs, so that they have to come right back in and get paid to redo them. I mean, I'm sitting here, an idiot truck driver, looking at all this stuff, and you people that wear the suits that say you're businessmen are throwing all the resources away and making the least able pay for it. What are you going to do about it if you have your way?
And before he answers that, that's a great question or statement. And one of the things that leadership don't push back on with these big corporations not paying taxes is because they say that they're giving jobs to the people in the area. But that, to pay their just due in taxes is not going to hurt them. And building a business and giving people jobs is still aiding and helping your business. And I just don't understand why there's not enough pushback in regards to that. But go ahead, Carmen. You can answer that.
No, look, Arlene, when are we going to wake up? We do it to ourselves. We keep electing the same politicians over and over again. And tell me, have they fixed the problem? Here's how you fix the problem. If you have a contract and we're giving you this big contract, I'm not doing 30-year abatements. I mean, if it's up to me, right? I'm at a federal level, so, but it still doesn't matter. I still work down the line, right? There should be no 30-year abatements. you think you're doing something for the community when you're not. If you're going to think about this, if you build 600 units and everybody in that building takes a poop a day, that's a minimum of 1,200 poops a day that are going into our sewer system. Why is it held on the backs of the taxpayers? They should actually have to redo the whole sewer system. You want to build on there? Rebuild the whole sewer system. Look, Mickey Sherrill is talking about taking over train stations where the property is sewage and building new buildings up there. So again, this is why I say unfortunately we're so busy, and it's not our fault as people. We have to focus on putting food on the table, going to work. By the time we get home at night, we don't want to deal with the BS, right? So unfortunately, we're stuck in this tunnel. But once we step outside and see what's really going on, let me tell you something. It brings a lot of light to the people. And again, doing that is the start of the healing process. We got to get back to the days of the barbecues out, the block parties, where most people don't even know who their neighbor is. When we start doing that, we start coming together and start listening to each other's issues, put a team together. If it was Bernard or Jeffrey that was on my team, guys, what's the problem? What's going on? Fine, no problem. Let me see what we can do about it. It's about communicating with the team. People put me there to do a job. I got a job to do. If I make a suit for a guy and I mess it up, I got to remake it. I don't like remaking suits. I'm not going to lose money, right? So I can only tell the people, again, one shot. If you don't like me, impeach me, get rid of me, give me one shot to show you what can be done, because that seat is yours. It's not mine. I'm just there to represent.
And with that, we're going to end because our time is up. This conversation, like I said, can go on. It is now 8:18, and from what I heard, you would measure 3 times, cut once.
That's it.
Just like I said, it's time that we get back to the basics. What a wonderful discussion, and I wish you all the best of luck. And like I said, I truly see for the future that we need to have both Democrat and Republican working together or pairing as a team where politics is concerned moving forward. Now, that may be a lot for both sides to grapple with, but I think that that's going to bring forth a holistic solutions, because both sides have good solutions for the challenges that we see. And the challenge with that is that the Republicans are going to implement what is best, what they see best when they're in office, and the Democrats are going to do the same. I think that it is time to have both in office at the same time as a team and just change how we do politics altogether. Bernard, great questions. Mr. Bucco, thank you for coming up. And before we go, we have our 3rd annual Disease Prevention Convention and Health Forum coming up on Saturday, August the 8th. Here is the flyer. If you have not seen the flyer, please tune in. We're going to have over 20 speakers coming out for this event, and it's going to be a wonderful event. We're going to have holistic speakers, people that are into the arts of herbs, Reiki. I'm going to be one of the speakers that are there. Anyone wants to vend and have a table, you may call Forrest. Forrest numbers is at the bottom of the flyer. We are going to have Brother John comes on after me, and Baba Joe comes on after him. Brother Forrest, if you are in the room, if you want to make any statements before we log off, please, this is your time.
Yes, I'm on. Hold on.
Say that again, Brother Forrest.
No, I'm on. I'm listening. No, but who did you say come on behind you, Sister Arlene?
Okay, please. What? Hold on. Let me look at the
Well, I could spare you. Bill Graves. Bill Graves.
Bill Graves. Brother Bill Graves.
They're very political. But okay. Yeah, Bill Graves comes on behind that, then Brother Bob and Joe. But I'd like to thank your guests for coming in. And you know, I don't have too much faith in politicians. No disrespect to your guests, but he will stand out very prominently, and the community will reward him if he keeps his word. Because we know sometimes when we elect these officials, and all of this stuff with money, you know, it's a different ball game. You look a different way, you know. So, thank you for your guests coming in. Thank you, Arlene, because you educated us to your guests, and looking forward to seeing what he does futuristically. And good luck when he runs for office, you know, because we need some champions in it.
Thank you.
Thank you. And thank you again, Brother Bucco. Once I download this video, I will forward it to you.
Thank you so much. God bless you all.
God bless.
Oh, hey, Arlene, can you just send them, it's Bucco for New Jersey on all social media platforms if they want to see where I stand.
Bucco for New Jersey. Well, you mentioned, so if you would like to go and read more on Mr. Bucco, you can visit Bucco for New Jersey. Okay?
Media.
And also donate time, volunteer, $1. You know, we got to raise the people's money for this.
Okay. Thank you, Brother Bernard. You all have a good night.